Hi guys, today I am driving to Bournemouth on probably a 4-hour to 5-hour round trip to go and view my first truck that I'm thinking about buying. I'm quite excited, I'm quite stoked, I'm quite nervous because I have to get back in time for the school run. But hopefully these things will all work themselves out, and even if I come back without having become the proud owner of a 7.5 ton lorry, I will have learnt some stuff along the way. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. So today won't be a waste of time, even if I walk away empty-handed, because it will have been a learning experience. And that's what I'm telling myself. So I'll see you in a couple of hours. Apologise if you can't hear me very well. I'm actually driving right now, and the road is really noisy, and my car has developed this strange growl when I'm driving. The MOT is due this month, so I'm not holding out hope for that one, but hopefully we'll get there to view a 7.5 ton removals lorry. Which I'm hoping will become the base for my project. I guess I'm pretty nervous. My thoughts are in a bit of a jumble. I've never sort of looked at a vehicle of this size. I can't actually currently drive anything larger than 3.5 tons, simply because I've only got my normal car license, which I think is a category B. So I'm actually hoping to take my category C license in June, which I will then be able to drive up. I think it's definitely over 7.5, up to I think maybe 11 tons or more, because I actually found the process of finding out about that quite difficult and confusing as well. I have found the process to sort of begin this journey at all quite difficult, and that's really what's sort of caused me to want to make a series of videos on it, because there are Facebook groups and the information is out there, but it involves a lot of time and a lot of reading and a lot of research, and myself being a full-time mum, a full-time student, a single parent, I'm quite time poor, so I want to sort of help out people who might be in a similar situation to me and just totally confused, totally lost, not knowing where to start. So basically today I had a real issue deciding between a 7.5 ton vehicle or a 3.5 ton, which I would actually be able to drive without getting my category C license, which is an expense in itself. It's going to cost me about £1,000 to go from a category B to a category C. That's including all the medical exams, the theory tests, the lessons and the test fees itself. Because if I'd obviously got the 3.5 ton, I could drive it right away. But the issues with 3.5 ton is that it's quite easy, from what I've heard, to go over the payload when you convert. So you may end up, even if you think, I'll be all right, get 3.5 ton, by the time you've put everything in that you need to, or that you want, you may end up going over the 3.5 ton limit anyway. So you've kind of defeated the whole purpose. The other reason for me is that I'm converting to hopefully so it can become an off-grid living vehicle, like a permanent home for us. And I have 2 children. They're quite young at the moment. They're not that young, but they grow. They're growing all the time, and I think in a year or 2 years we would be absolutely crammed in a 3.5 ton lorry. So I have decided to take the plunge. Today I'm not mega hopeful about what I'm going to look at today, and you might think that she's a bit mad, driving 5 hours to go and look at a vehicle that she's not sure is going to be suitable. But actually I hesitated on another vehicle that I was very interested in probably about 3 or 4 months ago. I've been looking for a long time, and I really regretted hesitating on that, and so I've decided now this one seems it's semi-promising, and I've just decided that I'm just going to go for it, because even if I end up walking away empty-handed, I will have gotten to be up close and personal with such a big vehicle. I have no experience, do you know what I mean? I've got no experience of driving a vehicle that large. I don't know what they look like inside, I don't know how the space is going to work, so this will actually be some interesting hands-on experience for me. The bloke who is selling it has offered to go and take me for a drive. Obviously I can't drive it myself. He's offered to take me for a drive, so I'll actually get to see what it's like to be in a vehicle that big, watch somebody else drive a vehicle that big before I have to do it myself, and just ask loads of questions about the mechanics of a lorry of that size. This one is a Mercedes Atego 815, it's 2000, I'm not sure what the reg of that is, but it seems to be in decent condition. It's a tilt cab, which is what I want. So yeah, I did actually find this one. It sounds a bit dodgy. I did actually find this one on Gumtree, but the other one that I was previously interested in I found on eBay, and unfortunately I don't really know people. I'm not in that privileged position to know mechanics, have lots of connections in that way, so you know, it's just really kind of starting from scratch for me basically. I was really hoping that I could get somebody, even though I obviously don't know any mechanics, I was really hoping I could get somebody along to come along with me today, just to kind of give a second opinion on it. But I find that life has a way of exposing your weaknesses, and unfortunately I couldn't find anyone to come with me today, so I'm going it alone. I don't have a sat nav, so I have no idea. Well, I mean, I have an idea of where I'm going, but it's going to be fun getting there. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish here because my thoughts are a little bit jumbled. I'm a little bit distracted because obviously I'm driving and I'm not quite sure where I'm going. So hopefully I'll make the rest of the video later. After I've seen it, I'll try and take a couple of pictures. And yeah, hopefully get back to you later with some news and information. Bye. Okay, so I'm just driving home now. I've looked at the lorry, and as I thought, I have mixed feelings about it. I think, to be honest, no truck that I look at would I ever be as naive as to say like, oh, 100% like perfect, definitely going to go for it kind of thing, because life just doesn't work that way and I'm too pessimistic to believe these things. So yeah, I'm just on my way home, making sure that I don't get lost. I got so badly lost on the way to find this place, oh my god, but it's okay. I got there in the end, 45 minutes late, but I got there. The traffic is so bad around here. Like, I haven't really driven on an A road apart from the A303 for that length of time before, and it's just like endless roundabouts, endless kind of. So overall it was well worth doing. I actually went for quite a long drive in the lorry, which was interesting. I had no idea that they were so bouncy. The suspension is like boinging you all over the place. It actually wasn't as horrific to manoeuvre by the looks of things as I was thinking it might be. Obviously the person who was driving it has actually had a lot more sort of practice than I have with these things, but it went through some pretty small gaps and I was impressed. The good points were there was no smoke when it started, couldn't smell any diesel or anything like that, and because it's a removals lorry, like registered with a business, I didn't actually I knew that it would potentially be better serviced than like a private vehicle. Like I was looking, like I said before, about horse boxes, you know, it would be better serviced than, you know, something that somebody's just thrashed in their private use. So actually, legally they have to get them serviced every 6 weeks, and I was able to see all of the service history and all of the MOT certificates going back to like maybe like 2014, something like that. So quite a lot of history, which was interesting. I took photos because I need to go away and, you know, in a non-pressured environment, read through that really, really carefully. It did have quite a bit of money spent on it at the last MOT. I think it was about 1,300 on the last MOT. Nothing horrendous. It has had its axles replaced in the not too distant past, which is a good thing, because a lot of these kind of trucks, because they're heavily laden, you people like load them too heavily on the axles and that damages them, so it's not unusual that they've had to have axles replaced. So that's good. There's no like major, I mean, it's got patches where it's, it's got a bit of rust on bodywork and stuff, but for, like I said, for the price bracket which I'm looking, I'm not going to get something without any rust at all. Do you know what I mean? I'm sensible. It wasn't too bad considering I've seen, I've driven cars with much worse than that. So it's difficult because obviously I can't see the engine because it's a tilt cab, but everything looked and sounded okay. And the bloke who actually drove it around wasn't actually the person who was selling it. So the person who's selling it owns like a removals business that he's jacking in basically. He got one of his younger lads to like show me around and stuff. So I kind of got an opinion on somebody who is like more impartial to selling it, which was actually really good as well. So he told me some stuff that I probably wouldn't have sort of thought about or known about. So that was really interesting, and that was like another positive, that the person who actually showed me the truck said that it was a good truck and he drives it on a daily basis as part of the company. So that was quite positive, and I didn't get the impression that like he was in cahoots with the guy. I mean, there's no like reason for him to say things that weren't true. So I was happy with the engine, with the cab, the chassis looked okay. I mean, like I say, I don't really know like what I'm talking about really, so it's difficult to tell. I have taken a load of pictures and I'm going to send them to a friend who isn't really like mechanically, he's not a mechanic, but he's driven big lorries, and he certainly knows more about it than I do, which is basically zero. So the drawbacks were that the Luton, which is the part of the lorry that goes above the cab, they'd sealed it off. So that's normally like on the long distance removals trips, like the driver, because there's like a legal limit on how long you can drive for and stuff, the driver would like go up there to sleep, and they'd sealed it off and they could not get the board off to show me what was up there. And this is quite an integral thing for me, because the reason I want a lorry of that size and shape is so that I can put a bed above the Luton, and it's the reason I like the removals lorries is because the Luton is nice and high, and that means that when you're asleep up there, you're not sleeping, you don't feel like you're sleeping in a coffin, with the roof right there. So that disturbed me a little bit. Now they did have an 11-ton lorry of very similar proportions, obviously larger, that they hadn't sealed off, and they let me look up in the Luton on that lorry, and it was certainly it seemed fine, but it just disturbed me a little bit that I can't actually see the Luton of the truck that I'm buying. The only other thing that bothered me was that actually on the front of the vehicle in the Luton, that somebody had obviously hit at some point the outside. I don't know whether it was on a low bridge or something, and there was a literal hole up at the top. It was only small, it was only about that big, but it was a hole, and they patched it. And he couldn't tell me. The young lad thought that it's got fiberglass sort of body up there, and I don't know what they've patched it with, but it was a bit and so that would definitely need some looking at and repairing in a better way. I'm not quite sure what you could do. I was thinking maybe just bolting a sheet of flexible metal and then sealing, something like that. That something would need to be done about that, because it did not look like it was going to be particularly weatherproof in the long term. What else can I say about it? So inside was actually really good. In the back, the floor was really sound, wood was in good condition. The walls actually is quite interesting. I haven't actually researched that much into insulation, but there was already quite solid, I don't know what you call them, like slats going along. So you've got the aluminium of the body, and then you've got metal bars going down at intervals along the inside of the body, and then you've got running horizontal to that, you've got wooden panels, like sort of wooden slats. And actually they look perfect to be like have insulation mounted to them, just as they are. So that might actually save me a job and some money because it's already kind of been done. So that was a really positive thing. The only issue with the body side of things is the roof. The roof is made of fiberglass, I think. It was that kind of like clear, looks almost a little bit like clear or like opaque-y kind of plastic. That is not, I don't know if that's ideal or not, because I've not really had any experience with fiberglass roofs before. I can imagine, I don't know whether there's like any health concerns with cutting holes in fiberglass, you know, in terms of like inhaling stuff. I don't know whether it's a good option in the long run for the roof of like a converted vehicle. I don't know how it's going to hold up to like having insulation and paneling on it. I don't know about that. It looked fine, but it also looked flimsy. Do you know what I mean? It looked like if you hit it the wrong way, it would just crack. But it wasn't leaking, it was dry as a bone inside. The other good thing it's got going for this van is that it's been serviced by the same bloke. So as I said, like it has to be checked every 6 weeks. It's been serviced by the same bloke for years, and I now have his number, so I'm going to give him a call and ask him a little bit more, because I would imagine it would have been him that had sealed up the Luton in the first place. So I'm going to give him a call when I get home and just ask a few more pointed questions about what's gone on, the vehicle in general, but particularly about the Luton, and I'll ask about the roof as well. So all in all, a really positive experience, really good learning experience. I've told, I wasn't going there to make any hard or fast decisions. I'm going to give myself 48 hours on the decision. The big issue for me is that I currently have nowhere to park it. So that's obviously quite a big deal, because I've got to get someone he's either going to drive it down. The issue is he said he would only drive it down if I met the asking price. And I'm not prepared to do that, because I read the advert yesterday quite carefully again, and he's quite specifically said that the price is the price that it was quoted, excluding VAT. So it's going to be like another 20% on what he's actually written down, and I'm just not happy to pay that, to be honest. I find it quite annoying when people do like VAT-less stuff. I know it's quite common on like big purchases, but it does wind me up. So I think what I will probably offer, I will probably try and get someone else to drive it down, but I need to A, find somebody to do that within the next week or two, because he wants the truck gone, and B, I need somewhere to park it, and I currently don't have anywhere to park it. You know, I don't have a friend with a yard that could accommodate a vehicle of that size. So I'm asking around, I'm looking at vehicle storage at the moment, but I'm hampered by the fact that I don't have very much money. You know, I can't afford like rent of an expensive storage unit per week. You know, it's not feasible for me. So I have to like take a lot of stuff into consideration. The other thing I was thinking about was that I know it was advised to me that I should get a pre-purchase inspection, which I thought, okay, fine, I'll do that. Rang up the AA, and they don't inspect anything over 3.5 tons. So I was then casting about, just Googling, trying to find someone that does pre-purchase inspections, and a lot of like businesses do them, like that's their job, but they charge, like, because they're a business and they're working for like commercial clients and other businesses, it's like I got quoted like 500, 600 quid for a pre-purchase vehicle inspection. I mean, it's just mental. I can't afford that. The cheapest I managed to find was just under £300. The young lad who took me about today said, you know, yeah, it might be £300 well spent. I don't know. I need to have a really serious think about that. Anyway, I think I'm just going to concentrate on heading home now. shutting down in the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks. So I think he's in it to recoup his losses and in it to sort of get everything sorted as fast as possible. He made that quite clear himself. You know, he said if somebody else comes along and wants to buy it outright, I will sell it. You know, and I was like, yeah, fine, mate. Like, I don't respond very well to being, like, I wouldn't say it was threatening, but I don't respond well to being pressured into decisions, especially not ones that involve like thousands of pounds. So I'm going to take my time with it. I've given myself 48 hours. Okay, so it's right at the end of the day. As you can tell from my face, I am knackered. It was quite a mission to do in one day, and then, you know, doing everything else that I need to do on top of it. And actually I had a good long think on the drive home about sort of what went down today, and I actually gave him a ring in the afternoon, and basically he said that the man who's selling it, like, he can vouch for the soundness of the mechanics basically, because he's worked on that vehicle and he doesn't really have a vested interest in, from what I can see, you know, telling me something which isn't true. Obviously I know that there's still a lot going on trust here, and I will get around to that in a minute, but I talked to him quite extensively about how the tilt cab works and my reservations about the Luton. He was very reassuring about, you know, the integrity of the bodywork and the fact that he's, you know, the truck has been regularly serviced and well maintained, and he said that the man who's selling it sort of has never done anything on the cheap. He always pays up for what work he's doing. So mechanically I'm quite happy that it's safe and sound. My reservations then now rest solely with the actual body, which my two main concerns are the fiberglass roof, because I've since looked it up this evening, and fiberglass is quite UV sensitive and it gets quite brittle and weak with UV exposure. So I need to either think about getting a new fiberglass roof put on, and I mean I assume they put the fiberglass roofs on because it's so light. So I'm either potentially looking at replacing the roof. I mean, it's not cracked, it's not leaking, so it may be fine once it's reinforced, you know, with the slats I'm going to put across and the insulation and the paneling. That might be enough. If it's not, then I'm looking at replacing the roof. The other main thing was the Luton, and that's what I thought a lot about on the way home. I wasn't happy that the Luton had been sealed. I wasn't happy that I couldn't look in it, because you're basically like, the reason I'm looking for this kind of vehicle is because of the Luton, and I liked this one because of the high Luton, and actually it's a really important selling point for me. So I just had it, you know, I really just talked to myself on the way home and said, you know, I need to get to the bottom of this if I want to part with money, you know, I need to see it. And so I waited until this evening, and then I called the seller up on the phone, and I said, look, like, I drove a long way today, I am interested, but there's no way that, you know, I'm going to go ahead unless I know what's up there. And he basically, not to my surprise, he basically said, you know, he completely agreed with me, and actually after I had come and looked over it, he said, well, I've been thinking about the fact that perhaps I don't want to sell something that I don't know what it is. You know, I don't know what's going on up there either. And do I want to sell something where somebody might turn around and say to me, you know, you sold me this and there's all this issue with it and you didn't say anything about it. So he has now agreed to take the sort of, it was sort of sealed off with like wood from the box going up to the Luton. It was sealed with wood and like properly like bolted down, and then from the cab, because normally you can climb up through the cab into like the sleeping area as well, the cab had been sealed with actual metal, like bolted with metal. So he's agreed to take the wooden paneling off from the box and see what's up there and send me photos, and I can have a look at those. Then I have decided to do is call up the person who quoted me £295 for a pre-purchase inspection, carry out a pre-purchase inspection with that person, and based on what they say about that, I will then make my decision one way or the other. So it's going to end up being, depends on what the Luton is. If the Luton's okay, or fixable with not too much expense, I will then request a pre-purchase inspection. If the pre-purchase inspection is okay, I don't have the time or the money to buy myself a headache. I've got enough of them as it is. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm kind of waiting, watching my inbox. Hopefully he'll email me tomorrow, if not by Wednesday, and I'll be able to let you know a bit more then. Okay.